Hey, I am a Revision Geek and I want you to come and join my Revision Geek world. Welcome to the Diaries of a Revision Geek. I cannot wait for you to watch these interviews. They are so super fun. I've got qualified accountants together talking about their revision journeys, the highs, the lows, the struggles, and all the things in between about how other people got their plaque up on the wall and how they got qualified. I've picked qualified accountants in my LinkedIn network on purpose to help and support you guys, to inspire and motivate you if you are on your accounting journey. Feel free to like and subscribe below for more. Just click on the icons and I will keep you up to date with the Diaries of a Revision Geek. Let's get started. On this week's Diaries of a Revision Geek, we have Jeri, and I'm very excited to interview Jeri. I have no idea what her revision journey is like, but welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Please feel free to, for anybody who doesn't know, introduce yourself for us.
So my name is Jeri Williams. I am the owner of Smooth Accounting, which is a chartered accountancy practice. We are based on the South Coast. And we serve mainly corporate clients, but individuals as well, sort of spanning the whole of the UK and the world as well.
Great. And I'm CIMA qualified, but I know we've got I'm interviewing lots of a range of accountants. So let us know what your qualification is in and when you qualified.
So I am ACA qualified and I actually qualified in December 2009.
A while ago.
Yeah, very long time ago. Seems like forever ago.
You've been in my LinkedIn network for years and years, about 4 years. And
yeah.
I'm not sure if I should admit this or not, but Jeri and her team are actually my accountants as well. So that's why I wanted to interview you, because I was like, I know Jeri's qualified. I can get her on. Yes.
Definitely admit that. We need everyone to know that, Helen.
Yeah. I am an accountant. I can do my own accounts, but there's more expert people that can do it for me.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to hear your journey. So over to you, Jeri. Let me know about your ACA revision journey.
So I did a degree in business studies, and when I graduated, well, okay, let me go back a little bit further. So before I did a degree, before I did my A-levels, I knew that I wanted to be an accountant. So I'd already made that decision when I was at school. And so I was very tunnel vision in my approach. So it was A-levels, degree, accounting. I didn't know anything about AAT or any other options really kind of back then. I just thought the only option was do a degree and then go on to do ACA. So I did my degree, and then before I graduated, I had already lined up a job with a local firm of accountants. So I started working for them straight away. And then a year later, I left there and I went and worked at another practice, a smaller practice. And that's where I started my studying for ACA. And I stayed there, I qualified ACA and stayed working in that firm for about 10 years and then left and set up on my own.
That's great. I did a business studies degree as well, actually. And what was your reasons for choosing business studies?
So I chose business studies just in case accounting wasn't for me. And although I knew I wanted to be an accountant, I'd never done it before. So I thought I could do a degree in accountancy, but if I do a degree in business studies, I'm going to get a little bit of, experience in like law and HR and marketing and all the different bits of business. So I thought I'll do that just in case accounting isn't for me or I hate it. But I didn't, so it was fine. So I carried on. But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a safety net, I think.
I did it for exactly the same reasons as well, like just as a general overview, just in case I didn't want to be an accountant as well at the end of it.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
No, you never know.
Yeah. And it opens up opportunities, I feel, as well. I've learned things that are non-accounting, but they're commercial.
Yes.
Commercial.
Absolutely.
And I'm intrigued on, not that you had a year out, but I'm intrigued on when you first started your ACA, was there a reason why you didn't go straight into that straight after your degree?
Yeah, so I thought that's what I was going to be doing. And that's actually the reason that I left the employment that I was in, because they just delayed me a year. You know, it was their kind of like, they kept stalling, like, oh yeah, no, you can start, we will get you to start, but you'll be so much better if you've done a year already working. And I was like, no, I just want to get on with it. You know, I don't want to wait. So that's why I left, because I felt like they just kept delaying me. And the firm I joined, I was very clear, like, I can start studying straight away, can't I? I can definitely start studying straight away. And they said, yeah. So it was fine, but it was very frustrating at the time.
Do you think that hindered your ACA journey, or did it just make you more determined?
That's a good question. I don't think it hindered me. I think that it could have, you know, having a delay when you've got a momentum of taking exams and you've done A-levels and you've done degree, then you just want to get on and do, you know, I knew I was going to do ACA, so I didn't really see the point of waiting. I don't think it hindered me, but I think it could have hindered me.
That's good. I think I took about 6 months in between my uni, and I did relocate in that time as well, but before I started my CIMA, yeah. Just, and
that's the thing, like some people do, some people have a break, some people want a break. You know, I'm not like that. I just wanted to crack on with it. But there are, you know, everyone's different, aren't they?
And that's the point of these interviews. I love it. I love hearing how different everybody's journey is for sure. Okay, so talk us through how you studied your ACA.
So I did it with a firm called Kaplan. I think they are nationwide, but I did it in Southampton. So I literally would go there for classroom study for the study week or however long it was for that exam. And then you'd go back and do a revision study in class. And then you would sit the actual exam. And we were doing them, I'm trying to remember back now, like how many I did a year. Because we've got a couple of the team that are doing ACA at the moment, actually, that work for Smooth, and they're asking me about it, and I'm like, I don't think it's the same now. You know, this is a long time ago. I don't think because she was saying, when will the exams be, and what course do you choose which module you do and when? And I was like, not sure. Let's find out. We'll find out for you. But yeah, I was doing maybe like one exam in each sitting for the most of it until I got into my finals, and I did them all together. But yeah, I was doing that at Kaplan, and yeah, just used to go and study as we went along, really.
How did you find the classroom sessions and learning that way?
Yeah, I mean, back then there wasn't any other options. So, you know, I think if I had other options now, I certainly would consider them, because some people don't want to travel. And obviously, and the traveling time used to take forever, you know, getting into the centre of Southampton in the mornings in rush hour was horrendous. I used to get the train quite often. But yeah, it just wasn't ideal, to be honest. I think it was fine. I work well being, you know, taught by a person and stuff, better than being taught, like kind of self-teaching. But I did do one of my exams where I didn't actually attend college at all. I just got the books and sort of taught myself. That was the tax one. Just taught myself, and I, you know, did the exam, and that was fine. But yeah, it was fine. I think it's a lot more flexible nowadays, I think.
It's so funny. I think some people might be watching this going, oh my God, like the travel, we talk about the travel, like I talked about the travel in my interview. Some of my other qualified revision geeks talked about the travel on top of, you know, when we had to study. It was a huge part of our journey, the fact that I had to go into Leeds for mine, which was like over an hour drive, and then have a whole day at college, and then drive home Saturdays and Sundays, and then work full time. It adds to it for sure.
It really does add to it, yeah, definitely, because it's full on learning. You know, it's really full on.
Yeah, I'm glad that you went half and then you enjoyed the learning.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So, did you pass first time?
So I failed one, which I retook, and actually the one I failed was like FM, what was FM back then, financial management. So more of like your your kind of neck of the woods, I would say, what you're used to doing. And I actually retook it weirdly. I did it a bit of a weird way. So the finals that you do for ACA are 2 advanced papers plus a case study. So we'd already decided I was sitting all 3 of those together in November. And all of the courses for those were sort of leading up to that. So they were August, September, October. I decided to resit the exam I'd failed right in the middle of that course and revision course. So which I was told not to do by the tutors, and my friends that I was studying with were like, you're absolutely mental. And I was like, I just want to do it. I want to get it out of the way. And, you know, if I pass that and then I pass my finals, and I'm all done by November. So, and I did. So it was fine. So yeah, I passed everything else first time, but not that little pesky one.
And what do you think you learned from that failure, from failing that one exam? Do you have any learnings from that?
I think it's maybe complacency can get in the way a little bit if you are quite academic. Like, I'm a very academic person. I think I suit doing exams more so than doing like coursework and things like that. So I think some people are just naturally better at exams. But what can happen is that you get a little bit complacent and a little bit carried away and like, well, you know, I'm just passing. And then until one comes along and there's like, no, you failed. And you're like, oh, you know, I actually have to try a bit harder now. So I think that it sort of stops you in your tracks a little bit, like reminds you that actually these are really hard exams, you know, and you have got to put a lot of effort in. You can't just try and wing it.
No, winging it definitely doesn't work for the whole journey. I know some of my other revision geeks have said how they started winging it and it worked for them, and then they failed, and then they failed, and then they had to change their approach.
Yeah, definitely.
And oh, excuse me, I talk about confidence a lot every single day on LinkedIn. I'm here shouting about a revision confidence. So how was your confidence journey, and was it knocked by that failure?
I'm trying to remember back. So I guess I knew I would qualify. There was never a doubt in my mind that I would qualify. It was just how long a process that was going to be and how long it would take me and how much effort I would have to put in. That was kind of always the debate. And I think, you know, confidence is important, but at the end of the day, you either know what to do in the exam or you don't, you know. So you could be a very nervous person, you could be a very confident person, but it just boils down to whether you know the stuff enough to pass the exams. And I wanted to make sure that I knew the stuff enough so I could pass, so I could get through it as quickly as possible and not have to study again. So, you know, that for me was the real aim of the game.
And do you think that failure knocked your confidence anyway? Did you question yourself, or was it just knowledge or an exam technique thing missing, or did you internalize was your inner voice like, oh my god, I'm rubbish, I must have done something wrong?
No, not so much on that exam, because that was FM. I knew I didn't particularly like it, understand it, and I wasn't really going to use it in practice either. So it was almost like I've got to learn it just to pass the exam and then pretty much forget it again. So I sort of expected it a little bit. I think had I failed any of the others, or maybe failed more than one, I think my confidence would have been knocked. Certainly when I did the finals, I remember walking out of those exams and literally like I was so fuming. I like stormed back to my car. Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone because I was like, I've definitely failed. Like, there's no way I've passed. Like, it was the most horrendous exam. And I was so upset. And I even emailed my tutor and I was like, that it will be a bad fail. Like, they actually call it a bad fail if you get a certain percentage. Not just a fail, it'll be a bad fail. And I passed. I passed all 3 of them. So obviously I was completely dramatic and over the top when actually I'd done fine. So I think it's so hard to know with them whether you're going to pass or not. I think that's the hard bit. It's the unknown, you know. Yeah. So yeah.
Going to your revision phase specifically, if you can remember, what did you do to really practice? Obviously the study piece the tutors taught you, but in your revision phase, what did you do to really practice that exam and knowing how to pass that exam?
So I was very kind of practical, I guess, in my approach. Like, I'm very much a person that I don't want to waste too much time unnecessarily. So like the pass rate is 55%, for example. That's what it was when I did them. I only want to get 55%. So I am not here to try and get 100% on this exam at all. I would play to my strengths. So if I didn't know a certain question, I would literally just leave it. Like, or a bit of a question. If there's a whole big long question, there's a bit of it, rather than spending time in the exam stressing, trying to work it out. If I know I can't do it, just completely leave it and focus on the bits I know I can do to make sure I pick up marks in those bits. And the teachers would always say things like, you know, make sure you put your headings in and underline them, because that'll get you another mark, or it'll get you half a mark if you lay it out like this. And I used to think, there's no way I'm losing marks on anything simple. So in my mind, I was like, just teach me how to pass the exam, and that's what I'll do. And I focused more on that than I did studying and learning the theory. I'm much more of a learn it the night before and retain it and pass the exam type of person. Probably like your worst nightmare, Helen, as a student. But I absolutely would be like short-term memory, learn it, parrot fashion, just so I can repeat it in the exam to pass it, and then probably forget it.
Yeah, maybe not my ideal client, but I would say the only thing I would say is what I wouldn't recommend for you guys right now, knowing what exams look like now, is please don't leave anything blank. You know, to pass a CIMA exam, you should answer 60 questions in 90 minutes. To pass an ACCA exam, you need to write an answer on every subtask. That's the only probably thing as a coach I would be like, please don't leave anything blank.
Write something. Yeah.
Do you think, again, don't want to assume, but do you think you had the approach of, and I don't mean this nasty.
No, go for it.
Do you think you had the approach of, I need to do the bare minimum here, or were you smarter than that, knowing what you needed to do to pass your exam?
It's probably a combination. I was looking at efficiency. Like, in my mind, I'm not going to put in more effort than I need to pass, because a pass is a pass. I don't get anything else. I don't get anything for getting 100% versus 55%. So why would I try and get 100%, if you see what I mean? So, you know, it's the same way even running a business. I look at efficiencies in everything that we do. So unless there is a benefit to doing more, I'm not going to do it. There has to be something I'm going to get in return. So for the exams, it's like, right, I need so many marks, or I need so many percentage. Like, how can I get that in this particular exam? Right, I can get it by doing this. Right, that's what I'm going to do, rather than thinking this exam is on this topic, these are all the bits that could possibly come up, learn every single one of them off by heart just in case they come up, and then go in and get 100%. Like, that's just not me. I'm all about kind of getting what I need to do. It was the same like with my A levels. I needed 3 C's to get into Bournemouth University to do the course I wanted to do. So I got 3 C's in my A levels. I wouldn't have tried to get any more, because I didn't see any benefit. I was like, I know what I need to do. I'd much rather go out and have fun with my friends and get 3 C's and still get into uni. Whereas I got sort of all A's and stuff at school in my GCSEs. But when it comes to college, I started to get a bit sort of adaptive with it and like go, okay, you tell me what I need to do and I'm going to do that and only that, and I'm not going to do any more.
That's very funny. You say the opposite to me and some other people, but I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, following on from that, my question would be about, you probably answered it a little bit by being adaptive, but knowing what your strengths were, where did that come from for you, and what advice would you give to people who listen who are not quite empowered with that skill of their own yet?
I think that everybody is so very different, and we talked about this already, but you know, you have to play to your strengths. You know, I know people that have to do a little bit of revision every single night for 6 weeks, for example, leading up to exam, and that's how they would get through it and pass it. I know for me, I would do like revision much closer to the exam, because I almost would peak too soon if I did that. If I revised a little bit every single, like I'd probably get to a point where I was like, I know everything, and then I've still got a while to the exam, and then by that point I would be very stressed, thinking I should have been going over all this now. I wouldn't personally benefit from that. So I'm much better to sort of go, right, I've got the exam in a week, that's it, I'll go for it now. I'm close to it, I can feel the kind of energy, I can feel it coming, so I will thrive on that. So I think everybody's very different. You've got to play to your strengths. If you're the type of logical person that has to understand the theory behind things to then be able to apply it, then great, you need to do that. So it's kind of working out, I guess, personality traits and what you're like, and then adapting that to how you study.
And how aware were you about your personality and what your strengths were? Or was it something that you learned over time?
I think I learned it over time, but obviously doing A-levels is very similar, doing a degree is very similar, and then going to ACA, so it's all kind of just one thing after another. You're still just sitting exam after exam after exam. I realised I was just good, if you like, at taking exams, because I would just really pay attention to what I was being taught. I'm almost like a bit of a sponge in that way. Like, if someone showed me something and said, you need to learn how to do this to do that, I can apply that and I can do that. So I just knew I was quite academic in that way from school, really, I think.
That's great. I talk also a lot about a revision plan. I promote the use of a revision plan. I feel like it's one of the most motivating tools you can have for your revision phase, even if it's a week or a month. I recommend a month. Did you have a revision plan of any sort?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm like the worst student ever. No, I didn't. I bet, I didn't. I didn't pay much attention in class either. Like, I wasn't there for all of the, I used to maybe do a bit of the tuition, then I'd do a bit of the revision course, but I wouldn't do all of it. I wouldn't do the mock exams because I was like, that's a waste of time. Like, I didn't have a plan at all. I just used to make it up each time. And, I do look back sometimes, think I don't know how I got through it. I really don't, but I did. So it's fine. It's fine. But no, I think, definitely people that are more, maybe don't have as much confidence or revise better that way, should have a plan. Again, that comes down to what you're like as a person, and it probably took that one failure for me to kind of stop me in my tracks and go, hang on a sec, you're not just going to wing your way through this. You need to actually do it properly. So that was probably a good thing.
Was there any reason why you didn't do the mocks and you chose to miss that piece out of your revision phase? One of the biggest mistakes I made was to not do my mocks either. And that definitely hindered me. And I do wish I had done my mocks. So was there any reason why you chose to not do all of your mocks?
Yeah, so I did do some of them, just not all of them. I think I would pick and choose which ones I felt more confident in. And I knew they weren't going to ask the same questions. So I'd think, what's the point of trying to answer these ones when they're going to ask something different on the day? And also, like, the case study exam is 4 hours of writing. I could not think of anything worse than sitting and writing for 4 hours. And the fact that they make you do it is probably why a lot of people choose ACCA rather than ACA, because of that vile case study paper at the end. And honestly, you come out with like claw hand because you've been writing for 4 hours. So I'm like, why would I do a 4-hour mock and literally have to write like essay after essay after essay after essay for 4 hours? Like, it's bad enough you have to do it once. So no, I was just not down. I was not down for that.
ACCA students, please do a mock. Please.
Yeah, you don't have to do a case study. It's fine.
Please practice. I just say, even if it's once. I mean, I do recommend 4 weeks every week, a mock once a week for 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
Just because I work with a lot of researchers, and I'm not trying to say the opposite to what you did, Jeri.
No, but that's the thing. Like, what I did is not necessarily the right way. It's just for me as a person, like what worked for me was doing that. If that hadn't have worked, I would have tried something different.
Yeah, so if you are a researcher and it's not working, I've spoken to another Revision Geek, we talked about being a gladiator and like fighting through. She did 4 exams on a lot of the time, and she was like, don't be a gladiator like me. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, you can be a gladiator, you can do whatever you want, but if you're failing, then probably it's not working. So if you're failing, please try something different.
Absolutely, and that's the key thing. For me, it was working generally 95% of the time. So I had to follow what was working, really, and if it wasn't working, I absolutely would have done something different.
So if you wouldn't mind talking us through any highs that you specifically can remember, or any of your low periods, I'd love to know.
Well, the high has got to be qualifying, hasn't it? So when you get that text message, I was so shocked when it said PPP. next to all three of the results, I was like, I remember I was sat and everything. That was a crazy experience. So that's got to be the high. And the lows, you know, I think just if you're working full time and studying, which most people are, it's a lot to take on. It is stressful. And there are moments where you just want to give it all up. So you just feel like it's not worth it, but it 100% is worth it in the end. It's like anything. It's like buying a house, or, you know, the stress that you go through, you question yourself, you know, why am I doing this? But it's worth it, you know, in the end, when you get it.
It really is, guys. Honestly, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I show off on my plaque all the time, but it is really worth it. And I know a lot of people listening are in the middle of their journey, or at the start or near the end, and like the emotional roller coaster is very real right now. That's why I want to talk to you guys and just help, if you're qualifying, help you realize when you're out of it what it looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
So the questions I'm asking everybody, what opportunities did you think would come when you first started, maybe when you were in your degree phase? What did you think opportunities would come for you?
What, from studying, you mean?
From getting the ACA qualification and going that extra level of academics? Yeah,
I guess just career progression. I thought, you know, I kind of thought you had to do that to get career progression. And I did get career progression from it. So that kind of matched what I thought was going to happen and what did happen.
And what opportunities have come? Obviously, it's been 13-ish years since you qualified.
Yeah.
With that number,
I'm FCA now. I'm a fellow.
What opportunities have come since you've qualified?
Yeah, exactly what I expected. I have had career progression, you know, because of studying. They are one and the same, what I thought was going to happen and what did happen because of qualifying. So, you know, I think that's very clear, and I think that's clear across the board for anyone studying. If you want career progression in accountancy, qualifying will get you that.
And in my opinion, qualifying will get you that sooner and quicker with some financial rewards.
Absolutely.
You know, there's an argument about QBEs, and I'll probably do another interview on that one separately. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I think it's fortunate this qualification helps you jump and get there.
Yes, yeah, it does, definitely.
Great, thank you. One question I'm asking everyone, I give revision tips every day on LinkedIn. I'm here to give you revision tips that help you pass your exam with success and confidence. Yep. So what would be your number one tip for qualifying accountants listening?
Don't give up. I would say, you know, no matter how hard it gets, don't give up.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
And if you don't,
sweet.
If you don't mind, I know I'm one of your clients, and I obviously speak to you and your team and know lots about what's going on in smooth accounting. And I saw one of your posts, and I would love to ask you about it. That obviously you have a qualifying team in your company, and one of your posts once said, like, one of my students doesn't want to study anymore, and that's okay. So would you talk us through, like, if you are at that point, if anybody's listening and they're like, oh, I just don't think it's for me, or I just don't think I want to qualify, like from a manager's point of view, or just from a person who has qualified, what were your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on the reasons. You know, if you don't want to qualify because you don't maybe want that career progression, you're not bothered about what you earn, or external factors that are causing you stress or causing you to be at a time in your life where it's not right, then that's got to be your decision to make, you know. But if it came from a place of I'm just finding it quite hard, or, you know, a lack of confidence and things like that, then obviously those are the type of things that you can address and managers can help with, and we could help if it was someone in our team. So I think it's just about understanding the why first, and then the result from that will come, you know, whether you do carry on or don't.
Yeah, and I asked you for a reason. I wasn't trying to lead the question or the answer.
No, of course not.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like it's really important to say, guys, if you are feeling like, oh, I can't pass exams, or the confidence isn't there, or you're scared, or there's a fear, that's not a reason to stop. And,
No.
and I wouldn't want you to stop. I want you to carry on, get some help, talk to your manager, reach out to me. There's help and support out there now, so that you don't have to fear these or lack confidence in these exams.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's the thing, like, as managers or business owners, there's lots of different elements to it. It's not black and white. So, there's no pressure on anybody in my team to study. That is 100% their choice.
And I think they'll get rewards out of it, because they'll feel empowered with that decision as well.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much. It was so good to interview you, learn about your ACA revision journey.
Thanks for having me. It's been great fun.
And if anybody wants to follow you, where can they find you?
So Jeri Williams on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel, because I'm sharing lots of helpful videos, hints and tips all the time. And you'll find me on LinkedIn as well. So please come and follow me on there. And try and post some entertaining stuff sometimes.
Great to have you. It's great to interview you today, Jeri. Thank you so much for being here.
No worries. Thanks for having me.